covering climate, weather, and the industrial enterprise from Penn State Meteorology. Here is Up in the Air.
Welcome to another episode of Up in the Air. I'm Vivian Rennie.
And I'm Chris Landolfi.
This is actually our very last episode for this season of Up in the Air before Chris and I leave and we hand the reins over to the very capable hands of Mike and Logan, plus some very talented new recruits.
Yeah, it was a good run for the past 2 seasons. Thank you guys for joining us. But we do have a full show tonight. We have features on water, a Chinese space station, and ancient human remains.
All that and more, but first, here's Update in the Air.
As the climate continues to change and humans look to mitigate the effects, there is an enemy that we may not even think of working against us. This enemy is the cow, which by the nature of its biology releases 200 to 500 liters of methane per day. Methane is a greenhouse gas that is about 30 times more effective than carbon dioxide at trapping heat on Earth. According to the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, global livestock collectively release 7 billion tons of equivalent carbon dioxide, which is more than global car and airplane emissions combined. Cows will continue to be an integral part of feeding the world, so scientists look to adapt by adding seaweed to a cow's diet. In recent experiments, methane production was cut by 99% when a small amount of seaweed was added. The seaweed works because it contains a chemical called bromoform, which prevents the digestive system of cows from producing methane. This actually creates healthier and heftier cows as they do not release the methane, which is a form of energy. One of the roadblocks to the solution is there just isn't enough seaweed being made worldwide. As the industry expands, however, scientists are hopeful methane will drastically be cut from the atmosphere.
As sea ice decreases dramatically across polar oceans, some scientists say that there might be a silver lining. The algal blooms that thrive where ice has recently receded could dampen climate change by trapping carbon in the deep ocean. To measure productivity of algal blooms, researchers use satellite imagery that captures the distinct color. While helpful on the surface, much of the needed data lies far below the surface. Sea ice can have a calming effect long after it recedes, blocking the dense, salty water from moving to the surface. Carbon will remain trapped far below until the salty water gets mixed in by oceanic overturning. With the salty water comes trapped carbon. Luckily, the overturning can be stopped by massive algal blooms that block the carbon from escaping. As sea ice melts, polar environments are shifting rapidly. Lucky for us, the deep-sea carbon may be staying put.
China's first space station, Tiangong-1, crashed into the Pacific Ocean on April 1st, over 2 years after Chinese officials lost control of it. In March of 2016, China announced that they had lost communication with the space station but provided no other details. Earlier this year, radar stations no longer detected Tiangong-1, and it was clear that the station would crash into the Earth. While it was as large as a school bus, scientists calculated that over 50% of the station would burn up upon re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. Still, there was a small chance that the station could cause damage on the surface of the Earth. Luckily, because most of the Earth is covered in water, the chances were high that it would land in water and not impact humans. Sure enough, the space station landed northwest of the island of Tahiti in the Pacific Ocean. China has another space station still operating in orbit, Tiangong-2, and plans to build a larger one in the coming years.
On Monday, archaeologists announced the discovery of fossilized human finger bones in the desert of Saudi Arabia. Believed to be over 85,000 years old, if confirmed, this would be the earliest Homo sapien fossil found on the Arabian Peninsula, as well as the oldest specimen to be dated directly outside of Africa. Along with recent findings of 80,000-year-old human teeth from Asia and 65,000-year-old human relics from Australia, the Arabian finger bone provides further evidence that early modern humans spread out of Africa much earlier than previously thought. Biological anthropologists from the University of Cambridge made a three-dimensional model of the bone using statistical analysis to determine its origin. Radio decay experiments have also confirmed the finger bone's age and origin. Members of the Saudi Geological Survey have shown optimism about future Homo sapien discoveries from the Arabian Peninsula, stating, "This fossil is just a piece of the whole skeleton. Like a drop of rain, the storm is coming."
As water usage increases due to an increase in human population, there are concerns that there may be a decrease in supply, due in part to the changing climate. In the United States, around 75% of fresh water is used for irrigation and electric power plant cooling. Municipal and industrial uses make up another 20%. Water usage is expected to continue to increase as temperatures rise, which will increase the demand for water as well. Humans, animals, and plants will require more water to stay healthy. A changing climate will also work to lower the supply by causing increased rates of evaporation and a decrease in snowpack, which will decrease fresh water in rivers across the country. We have already seen an increase in demand internationally for fresh water as water consumption has tripled globally in the last 50 years. Water managers in 40 states expect water shortages in at least a part of their states in the next 10 years.
Keeping track of elusive animals, especially those who are endangered, is time-consuming and expensive. Accurate population statistics are valuable as ecologists search for solutions to poaching. It's incredibly costly to conduct manual counts or to collect aerial photography. Drone technology paired with ultraviolet cameras may be the solution. Cameras made for daylight miss animals and poachers moving through the vegetation. UV cameras, on the other hand, show animals and poachers as bright, shining objects. A group of scientists from John Moores University in England have developed a system of drones that captures rare endangered species on the ground, day or night. Accurate studies have already been compiled observing orangutans in Malaysia and river dolphins deep within the Amazon. With technology typically used to peer into the cosmos, ecologists are creating more accurate statistics of endangered animals, hopefully giving them a better chance of surviving well into the future. Welcome back to the show.
We now have a feature by Jasmine Lomax on greenhouse gases.
The climate is changing. Greenhouse gas emissions have been increasing since the industrial era, and the cause is human activity. Methane, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, fluorinated gases, and water vapor are only some of the greenhouse gases that contribute to this emission, and the effects are numerous. Some of these, like increased air and ocean temperatures, rising sea levels, and the decline in Arctic sea ice, are very noticeable and have been the subject of numerous global warming discussions. But climate change affects many more things that shouldn't be undermined. One such thing is turbulence. If you've ever flown on a plane, then you've probably come into some rough air that made you a little bit shaky and had you feeling a bit nauseous. Well, that's turbulence, and unfortunately, its occurrence is expected to nearly double by 2050 as the direct result of greenhouse gas emission increases. Common causes of turbulence include proximity to large hills and mountains, wind, storms, and jet streams. The most common type of turbulence, clear air turbulence, occurs when air masses of different speeds come together. So how does global warming come into play? With an increase in carbon dioxide concentration also comes an increase in temperatures. The tropics are warming faster than the poles, leading to a north to south temperature gradient. This causes more shear and jet streams, and thus more turbulence. Fortunately, future planes will probably be created to withstand significant turbulence. But until then, and if you plan on flying anytime soon, choose a seat by the wings where turbulence is felt the least. Pay attention to the fasten seatbelt sign, sit back, and enjoy your flight.
Welcome back to the show. So we finally got some more of those spring-like conditions this week after we saw some more April snow on the 9th. We saw quite big snowflakes here in State College.
Yeah, I mean, April 9th is a little late in the year to be seeing snow. I mean, it was pretty to see, but when you have to walk outside in it, it's not an ideal situation, especially when we already had winter. We've been in spring for a few weeks now. So.
It's still very cold and soggy during those snowflakes, but glad to be out of them.
Unfortunately, we did have to deal with some April snow, but the good news is we do have some conditions warming up just in time for the weekend. Logan Westrope is here. Logan, so we see that it might warm up this weekend. Is that pattern going to hold on?
You know, I think this weekend will be really warm from what we've seen over the past few weeks, but I'm not really seeing that pattern continuing on, unfortunately, for the next coming weeks. And I'll more on that in just a few moments with the temperature outlook. But taking a look at the climate info, while right now our average high for this time of year is 59 degrees and our average low still in the upper 30s at 38 degrees with our mean at 49. Record high set back in 1977 at 83 degrees and our record low still at the lower 20s at 20 degrees set back in 1926. Taking a look at our temperature outlook for the period of April 17th to the 23rd, especially down into the southwest over Texas and parts of New Mexico and Arizona is where we're going to see these above normal temperatures. Outlooks 5 to 10 degrees warmer than what they usually are for this time of year. Below normal temperatures over the northern tier of the United States, stretching all the way from Chicago over into Minneapolis and parts of Montana and Idaho, where we will continue to see cooler than normal temperatures for this time of year. And to the northeast as well, that same story will continue as we look into State College, below normal temperatures outlook for this period as well. And precipitation outlook over in the west coast of the United States, above normal precipitation stretching all the way down from California up into Washington State. Our southeast is still looking to be relatively dry with below normal precipitation values for this time period. And closer to home, we will see a little bit more precipitation than what we usually see for this time of year affecting us here in Happy Valley. And taking a look at our drought monitor for the area, still we're continuing to see exceptional drought across much of the southwest that hasn't seen really any relief over the past few weeks. And looking at parts of Oklahoma and Texas is where we're seeing the severe drought that hasn't had any relief at all over the past month or two. Over the deep south, really not much drought there as we've seen a lot of precipitation, and the same story continues all the way up into the northeast as well with no drought in sight. And taking a look at our snow depth, we are starting to see the snow totals recede as we are getting closer towards May, and the sun angle is getting a little bit stronger each and every day. But you are still seeing elevation snow down in parts of Colorado, Wyoming, and parts of Montana as well. And over in the Mid-Atlantic and Ohio Valley, we still have some Appalachian mountain snow elevation there that's still continuing to move up and towards parts of State College here as we've seen some snow affecting us over the past few weeks, and parts of Maine and New Hampshire, Vermont still seeing some snow depth there. So this weekend's forecast everybody's been wanting to see. On Saturday, expect a high of around 76 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Absolutely beautiful. Get out and enjoy the weather before Sunday hits, and we will see the rain returning back into our forecast with a high of 56. Still relatively mild from what we've seen, Chris and Vivian, but I hope you guys are able to get out and enjoy the weather, at least for the first part of the weekend.
Yeah, Logan, I mean, I was really excited to see 56 up there, but then seeing 76, that's fantastic. Unfortunately, on Saturday, I have to take some graduation photos, so that's going to be how I spend my day on Saturday. Not super excited to graduate just yet, but I guess the wheel keeps on turning.
I'll be outside playing some soccer. I'm so glad I have another year here before I have to get with graduating. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, this is mine and Vivian's last show. We want to thank you all for watching Up in the Air. For the past 2 semesters when we've been on it, Mike and Logan will be staying next semester, adding a couple new members. But that is all the time we have. I'm Chris Landolfi.
And I'm Vivian Rennie. We'll see you next season, Up in the Air.